Twitch officially announces ad revenue for affiliates. FIFA 20 tops the sales charts. And a Gears of War 5 player has been banned for 640 days. But first, we're diving back into the Blizzard Hong Kong PR nightmare, as J. Allen Brack has released an official statement. Other large gaming companies have chimed in with their opinions, and BlizzCon protests are being organized. This is Arcadian Insight. All right, welcome to episode 34 of Arcadian Insight. So we talked about the Blizzard Hong Kong situation last week. I think the episode, whenever we recorded, it was like the day after Blitz Chung had made that statement on the stream. I think it was the day after. It was really, really recent. And we had that long discussion just about, how we felt about it. And really, I think we were all on the side that Blizzard was definitely within their rights to give out the penalty that they did, which was taking away the prize winnings, Blitz Chung's prize winnings for that tournament. I think it was 10,000 USD. And then they also suspended him for a year, which was right in the contract. But since then, a lot more has happened. So we have a statement from Blizzard President J. Allen Brack. We have a statement from Blitz Chung. We have Riot Games and Epic Games chiming in with their take on the subject. We have protests being organized at BlizzCon, and we also have just a lot of people posting on social media about it, like on a day-to-day basis. We have people like Brian Kibler stepping down from casting. So there's a lot to unpack here. I'm really happy to jump back into this, but I think we should start with the statement from J. Allen Brack and Blizzard. I think that's the most logical place for us to start to talk about, I think. And this is in response to everything. And this is just a portion of the statement. He made a long message. If you want to read it, go to Blizzard's website, but here it is. The specific views expressed by Blitz Chung were not a factor in the decision that we made. I want to be clear. Our relationships in China had no influence on our decision. We have these rules to keep the focus on the game and on the tournament to the benefit of a global audience, and that was the only consideration in the actions that we took. If this had been the opposing viewpoint delivered in the same divisive and deliberate way, we would have felt and acted the same. So the statement also went on to say that Blitz Chung will now be receiving his prize money, and his suspension has been shortened to 6 months instead of 1 year. So Blizzard kind of caved a little bit from a lot of the PR pressure that they were receiving. The casters will also now be suspended for 6 months versus being fired indefinitely. What do you think of Brack's statement? And now that we've had more time to just, I think, digest the entire situation, it's been like a week, a little bit over a week now. Do you feel any differently than you did, like right at the first glance of everything that happened?
I think his well, at least the specific portion of the statement that you read is actually, it's really interesting because when they say, like, I believe him to an extent when they say, like, if somebody would have had the exact opposite viewpoint, that they would have also, suspended the guy and suspended the guy, took his prize money, yada yada. But at the same time, like, no one is that stupid to think that, like, they don't care about their China revenue stream. Like, I'm not, like, you know what I mean? I'm not fucking retarded. Like, they obviously care about that, and that absolutely played into the decision at least a little bit, right? I don't think we're all that stupid.
It played in a lot of bit. I couldn't agree with you more on that one. I mean, nobody's that naive. Hopefully not. But what you were saying, that do I feel any differently now after hearing Jalen Brack's statement on this, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, not just the statement. I think just after having a week to digest it and just with more and more opinions coming out about it, I just didn't know if you guys had changed your opinions at all or if you
all the opinions
stayed the same.
All the opinions sound exactly the same on it, at least the echo chamber of the internet. I'm hearing, obviously, it's boycott Blizzard and this, that, they're terrible people, the covering up the little inspirational sayings throughout the offices and things like that. But I do have to applaud Jalen Brack for the statement. I feel like that. I'm glad to hear that. He would have, at least he said that if the opposing viewpoint would have been delivered in the exact same way, he would have, or as a company, they would have, acted the same way, banned him, that kind of thing.
Right, and let's be like realistic here. Okay, same scenario happens, right? But instead of Blitz Chung supporting Hong Kong, he supports China directly and says like Hong Kong needs to be a part of China, and then they banned him and gave him the same punishment. No one would give a fuck. No one would give a fuck. No one would care. They'd be like, "Oh, that was warranted," and everyone knows that.
Blizzard's response would have been the same. The only thing that would have changed is that there wouldn't have been all this outrage, and then his suspension would have stayed a year, and he would have not made $10,000. The only reason he got that back is because people agree with his opinion, because the public agrees with his opinion. Yeah,
sure, right. And I'm not, and his opinion isn't necessarily wrong at all. I understand like a person that is in his situation. Like if you live in a city and like they're passing a bill that they can extradite people to China's mainland for punishment and stuff. I don't think you can disagree. Like I wouldn't want that either. So I totally agree with them. It's just you're using someone else's platform to view your political opinions or personal opinions, and that's never okay. No one ever is going to accept that. They're just not like, no company is going to let you use their platform and represent their whatever, their tournament or their competition, and let you plaster your views on it and take over their platform. It's just,
no, I completely agree.
Allow it.
Just specifically with Brack's statement, I didn't mind the statement either. I mean, it's professional, it's a PR piece, but I mean, that's what it is. You're not going to like expect it to not be that way, because that's exactly what it is. But the thing I didn't like about the statement was the response to the statement online, and the same thing with the response to the whole situation. It seemed completely emotional and not well thought out. The stuff that makes it to the top of Twitter and the stuff that makes it to the top of Reddit, it's like just calling the entire statement bullshit. They don't like it. They think it's a big lie. It is a PR spin piece, whatever. And yeah, there's going to be an element of that to it. But like, I don't think that the passage that I read there, I don't think that that's a lie. Like, sure, do they have incentive to want to be in China? Of course they do. There's like 1.2 billion people over there. They have a 5% stake ownership by Tencent, a Chinese company. Of course they don't want to piss off China. But I don't think that he's lying when he says that if the statement would have been a reverse position, that they wouldn't have done the same thing. I think that it really would have been the same thing. And people like don't want to believe that. They just want to say China, 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 and it's just not the truth. It's a portion of the truth, and that's fine, but you can't keep saying that like it's just because Blizzard like wants to suck China's dick, for lack of a better allegory.
Personally, like I don't like China either, because I mean clearly it's like a one-party dictatorship. I mean there's no way around that fact, right? And like I understand why people don't like it, but it just people are like being so like just out, because like, okay, you can't even go on fucking Reddit right now without like every single post being like, if you play Hearthstone and you want to read about like the current meta or something, you can't even fucking read it on Reddit because it's all posts about fucking Blitz Chung and free Hong Kong and shit. And like, I get it, there's nothing wrong with supporting that message, but like, I don't know, holy smokes, take it easy.
It's a lot of grandstanding, isn't it?
I think it definitely is. And
it's like you have these people that like post that they're gonna delete their accounts, and like they put up the picture like, oh, you sure you want to do this? And you never even see them click it. Like you've no confirmation that like they actually deleted the account or anything. It's just like the screen before they actually delete it. But it's like, if you really, really fucking cared, then you wouldn't even post it. I mean, that's how I feel. Like, that's not real. That's a fake thing that makes somebody feel good about like pretending to care about something.
That, and like people want the upvotes or the recognition, and like people live for that shit. That's like human nature.
Whose line is it anyways? The points don't matter. That's right. Everyone's trying to recommend the likes on Twitter, the upvotes on Reddit. Wasn't it like I don't know, it's just like the easy cop out to say you can sit down and try and like analyze anything really, and it seems like this whole outrage kind of culture is just like call it bullshit and say that they're terrible people and then totally dismiss it. I mean, what if What if Jalen Brack like wanted to sit down at BlizzCon and sit there and try and explain everything? I have a feeling that, you know, if there's protesters inside the place, I feel like he's gonna have a hard time getting his message across, that kind of thing. Which is really sad. There's like very little room for any kind of debate here, and I'm not, you know, saying we should debate whether, you know, Hong Kong, you know, the message being sent there, but you know, really the message that I guess Blizzard's trying to send is the one we're talking about here.
That was the thing. That was the other thing about Brack's statement is like he could have came out and said anything. He could have said, you know what, we're pulling out of China. Like, we're done doing business with them. Like, I'm personally helicoptering over into Hong Kong and like fighting for the revolution, like boots on the ground style. And the HOTS competitive scene's coming back. You know, he could have done everything right, and everybody would have grown him at the stake anyway. I mean, Blizzard could have said literally nothing to appease people at this point, because they would have just not believed it.
And
it would have just
and
been...
you have to give them credit for like, okay, so I don't think that like anybody really disagrees that like the punishment was probably a little bit harsh. I agree that he needed to be punished. I don't think anybody disagrees with that, but the punishment saying, okay, you can't play for a year and we take your prize money, I think that's a little harsh because you and he acknowledged
the only thing with the prize money thing was that it was literally written right in the contract, like, we're gonna take your prize money.
Right,
The
sure.
suspension was the thing that was something that was more like their opinion, and that could be changed. But like the prize money thing, like it was literally like right there, like you're gonna get paid $0 if you do this.
Right. And like for me, like the suspension makes more sense than taking the money away because he didn't cheat in the tournament. Like he played, and I'm glad they acknowledged that. He's like he played fairly in the tournament. He competed. He did what he was supposed to do, and then after the fact is when he fucked up. And they gave him his prize money back. And I think you have to give him a little bit of credit for at least recognizing that they brought down the hammer a little too hard, and they clawed. They still punished him, but they clawed back a little bit. And I think you have to give him a little bit of credit for recognizing that perhaps they were a little bit too heavy-handed when they doled out the punishment, and they definitely rectified that, in my opinion. And I think that, for me, that makes that at least lets me know that like they're paying attention to what happened and like the reaction, and then acting accordingly to try to make things a little more fair or whatever word you want to use.
Let's take a look at Blitz Chung's statement here. And this came out like 4 or 5 days after the incident. And this is just a snippet of the statement. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but here's what he said. I'm grateful for Blizzard reconsidering their position about my ban. Earlier this week, I told media that I knew I might have penalty or consequence for my act, because I understand that my act could take the conversation away from the purpose of the event. In the future, I will be more careful on that and express my opinions or show my support to Hong Kong on my personal platforms. So what do you guys think about this? It seems to me like he kind of expected what happened anyway before he even did it. And I think he's just acting like more of an adult than everybody else that's speaking on the subject.
Maybe after the fact. I don't know how I feel about that. After the more I hear it, I've read it a few times, and now the way you delivered it there, it almost sounds like when you spin it like that it was almost immature in that sense, because he knew exactly what he was doing, that it was going to get him in trouble, it was going to get the company in trouble, that it wasn't something he should have done, that he knew that obviously it was more appropriate to send this message out on his own personal platforms, not to hijack somebody else's platform to get his message out. Now, so I don't feel so warm and fuzzy about Blizzard kind of like reeling back a little bit on the punishments, like Dave was saying, because I feel like there has to be a level of, they have to set some kind of like precedent here. I mean, who's to stop anybody from doing this kind of thing like all the time, where obviously it doesn't belong and it's just going to get the company in trouble in the long run.
Oh, I'm glad that he acknowledged that, like what he did was wrong, because I mean it is by the rules wrong, and like you shouldn't be sharing opinions on someone else's platform. But at the same time, like if you feel that strongly about something and you know the risks that when you do it, then I respect what you did. If you know that there's going to be a punishment, and you know that they can take your prize money away, you know that they can ban you from the event, you can never play again, you know that you can lose your livelihood playing Hearthstone or whatever video game, but you do it anyway because you feel that strongly about it, and then you recognize that there are consequences, but you're going to do it anyway because that's how you feel, I respect that. You know what I mean? I respect that people that know what the consequences are and do what they feel is right. I'll respect people that accept the consequences and do what they think is right. I think there's, you know what I mean? I'm not saying he was right,
Mm-hmm.
but I respect that he at least, took responsibility for his actions and accepted whatever punishment was given to him. Like I respect that because he knew what was going to happen and he felt strongly about it. So he
Yeah,
voiced his opinion and
I
he shouldn't have, but if
I see what you're saying there, Dave, but I mean, what if I just kind of play devil's advocate here and you kind of play this whole thing out to the extreme where, he says this message and things like really hit the fan. Like, not, I mean, things are really going out of control right now, but like things go really south and like he actually does like sink all of Blizzard's, ability to do any kind of dealings in China. They lose a ton of revenue. He puts a bunch of people out of a job, all across the world, essentially, just because. I'm just saying, hypothetically, it's just that kind of thing. Like, is he really willing to accept the consequences? Then I know it's hard to say. Like, he's fighting for other people.
I mean,
with his message.
I would kind of say no because like they offered his prize money back and they lowered his suspension and he accepted both of those back. So, I mean, if he really did like respect the consequences and respect the tournament and respect the punishment, then he probably should have just taken the original punishment. I mean, that's my opinion. He's in a perfect scenario now where he's gained a bunch of fame and publicity. He's still able to get the money and he's back in Hearthstone in 6 months like nothing happened. So like, where's the risk? I mean, there really was no risk if you really think about it. I mean, what happened to him? Nothing. He gained a bunch of fame.
He might be the safest person in China to have that message.
Do you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know.
We're all going to be looking for him in 6 months here. He can't just disappear.
Yeah, sure. But let's jump down to these specifically Riot Games and Epic Games responses to this whole situation. They were both like polar opposite. I'd love to get your thoughts on both of these things. So Riot Games released a statement urging players and casters to keep their personal views on sensitive topics completely out of their games and broadcasts. So they're like right with Blizzard. They pretty much just like sent out a warning like, hey, please don't do this. Like, this isn't going to be good for business. Like, this isn't what we want. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, Epic Games president Tim Sweeney announced the exact opposite. He stated that anyone on Epic's platform or stream would not be subject to any form of punishment for stating any personal political opinion. What are your thoughts on both of these statements? I mean, obviously, these are both kind of PR pieces. Now, Riot is obviously more on the unpopular side. It seems to me like Sweeney's really trying to win some internet points for Epic, which, like, why does he even care? They're already like the most hated company, maybe besides EA. But yeah, I'd love to get your thoughts. And all of these companies are all owned by Tencent. Blizzard about 5%, Riot 100%, and I think Epic's like 45% maybe.
Well, I personally, I think you go the route of like kind of like how YouTube and other platforms like that treat things. You say, okay, none of like you have the disclaimer that, hey, okay, none of the views expressed by anyone, any of our players or any of our casters are like views supported by the company. I think like that because I mean, it's obviously it's not that easy, I guess, but if you just always disclaim that, hey, we as a company do not agree with any we like when people talk on our behalf, like a Raiden, like like a caster or a player, when they speak, that those are not our views, those are the players' views, and they do not represent the company. If you have that disclaimer, which I think a lot of places do that, then you kind of like then you're like stepping back, like this isn't our problem. What they say is their word and not our word. I think if that in theory it sounds easy, but it's probably a little more complicated than that. But that would be the best way to go, in my opinion. But like I said, a little kind of like towing the line. It's a little gray.
It is. That does sound nice in theory, but I think I don't know. It seems like everybody wants, all these companies to take a real hard stance on all of this, whether it's one way or the other. And particular these two statements. I mean, I can understand Riot Games, their point of view. I agree with it wholeheartedly. It's just,
especially with Worlds coming up,
right? You can't have that. Luckily, they're in Europe right now. They're not, over there in Asia. That would have been a real mess. I'm sure that would have been tough on everybody. But Tim Sweeney. I mean, I'm pretty okay with Epic Games, but what the hell is he talking about?
Okay, I felt the same way. I'm somebody who like defends Epic like almost on everything that they do because I like their platform. I love the dev split, everything, right? I'm like, we may be like some of the only people in the whole world that support the Epic Games Store and what they're trying to do. And then Sweeney comes out and says this, and I'm like, Tim, what are you doing? Like, we had your back, and now you're like completely doing a 180 on us. Like, I don't understand. It seems like it's so unlike everything else that they've done. Like, this seems like almost anti what Epic would have done in this situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they kind of went left when everybody else was going right, and then and now I guess they've done it again, and I guess they're holding true in that case. They're batting 1,000 on doing unexpected shit.
The exact opposite of the trend. Yeah,
yeah,
that's how they operate. Yeah,
and like maybe they're doing it just to like get publicity. You know what I mean? They might not even be. It might not even be like how they actually feel, but like when you're trying to grab market share from what they're from Steam or whatever other venue, maybe that's how you get your name out there more. Like people talk about you. You know what they say? Like it doesn't matter if it's good news or bad news. It's good news because if people are talking about you, it doesn't matter what it is. You're getting your name out there.
Unless you're Blizzard.
Yeah, unless you're Blizzard. Well, I think there's really one important thing that everybody needs to realize too with the Blizzard thing. As a rational human being, there is no fucking way that you can say that Blizzard employees and Blizzard CEO, whatever, Blizzard, the company, supports like China and like, we love China, fuck Hong Kong, we don't care about rights. I think that's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
like,
it's asinine. Yeah.
There's no fucking way that they actually believe that. They don't. They just don't. I know they don't. There's no fucking way. They care about their fucking money. They care about the fucking revenue stream that can come from China. And it's nothing more than that. They're not supporting fucking suppression of free speech or whatever the fuck people want to say. They're just like, that's not their intention. They don't actually mean that. They're just trying to preserve the revenue stream. And as a company, can you fucking blame them? Like, is it their job? Is it the company's job that makes games to fucking, you know what I mean? Like fucking support a political revolution?
Because they're because they're in the private sector and they have nothing to do with it. But
I don't know.
Just to go another layer deeper on this, on the Riot, Blizzard, and Epic statements. Everybody wants to say that Blizzard is in Tencent's pocket and that they're only making this stance because of China and Tencent. They're owned by Tencent 5%. It actually might be 4.9. Might not even be 5. I think it's 4.9. Anyway, Riot's fully owned by Tencent, and they made a similar PR statement. So like those trends would line up. But Epic's almost half owned by Tencent, and they come out and say the exact fucking opposite thing and say, you want to say something positive about Hong Kong on our stream? Well, fucking go ahead. We don't care. Tencent has nothing to do with it. So why would Blizzard, with just a 5%, 4.9 ownership stake by Tencent, give a fuck? If Epic's able to say that with 45%, I mean, like, I think everybody's kind of looking in the wrong direction.
Doesn't add up.
Or they just want the story, right? It doesn't add up. No.
It's that.
It really doesn't.
It's that. I mean, those numbers right there kind of just blow up the entire idea that Blizzard is doing this just because, China's like really, strong arming them into it, like Tencent wouldn't allow it kind of thing. It just doesn't make any sense. And then it just goes back, and then it just evolves like, all right, so if you were to ask somebody, like, what are your reasons for it? Like, their response, they're sucking China's dick. Like, that's deep, that's how far we're scratching the surface here with the analysis, which is really...
And, like, it's so easy to jump to that conclusion. Everybody thinks that they're like so much smarter than you when they say it. It's the easiest conclusion to jump to.
Mm-hmm.
It's like not even connecting two dots. It's like just looking at one dot and being like, yeah, this is it. I think I got it. It's like there's no deeper line of thinking. There's no understanding of politics or PR or marketing or business or anything.
Feelings.
It's just like, yeah, it's literally just feelings.
It's just
on a
feeling.
situation.
It's
On a
about
situation.
doing what's right.
But Green,
About
in a situation
doing
that
what's right.
no one knows anything about. I mean, like,
yeah,
these people on Reddit, they don't know anything about Hong Kong and China.
Yeah, and I
Most
think
of
that's
them.
a
I mean,
very-
the vast
I think that's a
majority.
very
They,
fair point.
yeah.
that- There's like hundreds of thousands of people conversating about this, and there's no way even fucking half of them have any like real idea what's going on, other than
No, not a shot in hell. No.
that it's just, you know what I mean? It's like you're not in tune to like the geopolitical situation in fucking Hong Kong.
yeah. Neither is Blizzard. That's why they don't want some kid coming out there making a statement on their platform. Why would they get wrapped up in it? They have no idea either. You know.
Exactly.
Right, and like I'm not like we're not so stupid to say that like Blizzard doesn't care about the China revenue stream, because they absolutely do.
Yeah,
You know what
absolutely.
I mean? Like,
oh,
if you're a
100%.
business that's growing, if you're a business that's growing, where's the best place to fucking grow?
China.
I'm gonna go China.
China.
Could it be China?
So like, yeah, you can't like I don't know.
Well, anyway, let's jump down to these BlizzCon protests, because there's protests currently being organized, which kind of sucks because we're gonna be there. The protest is being organized by Fight for the Future, whose main goal is to get developers and publishers to make a public commitment to supporting the rights of players, employees, and fans across the world, and to get Blizzard to fully reverse its decisions surrounding Blitz Chung. Well, that's almost already been done, so that goal, you can cross that off the list already. Here's a quote from the organization's director, Dayton Young. The heart of the matter is, they still censored a man and punished him for speaking out and advocating for his own political freedom, and that's what they're continuing to do. They're saying this because they don't want to upset people, but I think people are already upset by their decisions. If Blizzard's true goal is to ensure that every player always feels safe and welcome when competing in tournaments and playing Blizzard games, then Blizzard should let players, fans, and employees know that they can advocate for their own rights without fear of reprisal. I don't want to make a comment on this yet. I'd love to hear what you think about that statement and just the protests in general.
You got anything, Dave?
I mean, I can start if you want, but
You're gonna go first.
I just like I'm going to BlizzCon.
I'll go.
Yeah, just go.
What's
Just fucking go.
What is this guy talking about? Does that statement mean anything to you at all? In that 4 or 5 sentences that I read, did you catch anything that made a lick of sense?
I'm trying to unpack it. What they're trying. Yeah, what is he trying to accomplish here?
I think I might just leave
I'm
it
not
there.
sure.
I'm not sure I want to unpack it.
I'm not
Just leave it
sure.
back
It's
up.
just like punished him for speaking out, advocating for his own political freedom, and that's what they're continuing to do. I mean, no, they're not. That isn't what the company's doing. Again, I mean, it all comes back to the same point, but Blizzard is not punishing him for talking favorably about Hong Kong. For the love of God. I just don't get it.
I'm sure there's a lot of things he could have brought up that Blizzard probably would have, punished him for talking about, like advertisement,
like 1,000
anything.
things. Yeah.
He couldn't walk up there and start plugging Red Bull or something during the thing. He'd probably get in trouble and his stuff taken out. Like, you just can't do it.
And for me, what I think is really interesting is like all these people are so worried about like human rights and everything, but and they're so passionate about it. But if you're so passionate about it, then why is all you're fucking doing is posting on Reddit? If you're really that passionate about it, go fucking do something. Go raise some fucking money. Go over there and help them. Like, you know what I mean? If you're that passionate about it, put your fucking make a play, make a move, help them out.
Yep.
I'll just sit behind your keyboard and type on Reddit. Like, that's
how does taking $60 a year away from Blizzard by not buying one of their games do anything to help anybody in Hong Kong? It doesn't do one thing.
No.
They aren't related at all. Not even a little bid.
Well, what's
Well,
that?
that's what you think.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no correlation between those two actions.
yeah.
You don't know that.
Well, I mean, to Dayton Young here. So they want to. What is this here? Yeah, they advocate for their own rights for the players and fans and employees. Okay, that's fine, but like, what's that? What exactly does that look like? You know, what exactly are you fighting for here? What does Blizzard do to help the situation in Hong Kong? Like, even if this all works out and the protest is like fantastic, it's really well put together and the message is heard, it makes a lot of, you know, all of a sudden it makes a whole lot of sense, and Blizzard's like, yeah, you're right, and they're like, we support it, and then that's it, and then what? How does that help anybody? Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, like, what are they gonna do? Is Blizzard gonna like fucking get all their
Right.
like developers and stuff and like fucking give them like fucking combat equipment and send them to fucking China and like fight China? Like, what the fuck are they supposed to
Is
do?
there going to be like propaganda in their games now, like, you know, coming out supporting Hong Kong and stuff like that? Like, what's it look like?
And like, at the end of the day, like, if the Chinese government is gonna do what it does and suppress people, like, okay, one, whose responsibility is it to stop that? Not Blizzard's. Can't be, because that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, they don't have a fucking
No.
army
That we know of.
that we know of. Oh yeah, I'm fuck. But like, you know what I mean? Like, what? Like, if they're gonna be like, if China's gonna be like that, then what do you do? Because like,
Yeah.
you can't like give them. You can't economic sanctions and all that shit doesn't work because they're like they can pretty much do their own thing, and like they're gonna be how they are. So like, the only way is like either other countries fight a fucking war for Hong Kong, and that I mean that only ends poorly, right? And then the other thing is like they have like a fucking revolution or a civil war. Like, I don't know how else you get around it. Like, China's not changing. You know what I mean? They're not going to just change their fucking opinions. Like, I don't know what people expect to happen. The only way anything's going to fucking change, it's called war. That's literally the only thing that's going to change it. Is people fighting. What else would change it? There's nothing. You won't convince me that there's anything else to do.
I mean, you would need like every single country and every single company to stop trading with China and selling Chinese products.
And it's not going to
But, like,
happen. It's
putting
just not.
pressure on Blizzard is not the way to go about that.
Right,
It's
it's
a
not-
government. It's a government regulation. It's on the federal level. It's not on the private sector.
Right. It's not Blizzard. Blizzard is a fucking gaming company, not a fucking
Right.
whatever the fuck you think they are. Like,
But so to wrap this conversation up, I really wanted to touch on these social media posts and the grandstanding, and I think that we've pretty much done that. But I did see like some really strange things that people like. It was kicking up some dust, like getting some traction that people were saying. Like for one, well, we saw Kibler step down from casting. That was a big thing. But you know, people are just like starting to make shit up. They're saying like that League of Legends team that's in Worlds, Hong Kong Attitude, that the cast that Riot was telling the casters to not say Hong Kong and just to call them HKA. And the casters were asked about it and they were like, well, no, like we just like abbreviate everybody's names. Like they don't say Team Solo mid, like they say TSM, like they don't say Cloud9, they say C9, you know, like they just say the acronym. Like they're like, no, that's like completely full of shit. But I don't know, have you seen any more of this stuff that's like coming out that just doesn't, it's just people pulling straws? It doesn't make sense. Or trying to make a story out of nothing, I guess.
Honestly, I'm not even seeing it to that level. It's just like I just see a lot of comments and then like these shitty little gifs, like, you know, with the post or whatever. Like that's all the more it is to it. To like, oh man, it's a lot of mine is like Blizzard's just terrible and blah blah blah, and then it'll be like them like somebody throwing a dumpster or like like lighting a dumpster on fire or something like that.
Tossing a dumpster,
yeah. It just like stupid shit like that. It's not even that well thought out that they're, you know, that there's maybe something, you know, some deeper meaning behind, you know, whether or not they're using a team's acronym or the full name of the team. Nothing that good.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think my closing thoughts on the whole thing are, one, I think a lot of people play video games to avoid politics and real world happenings. You know what I mean? Like your video games are like an escape, right? So like, why do we want people to fucking talk about video games on professional scenes or talk about politics on professional video game scenes. Do we really want that? Don't we want to get away from that? And regardless of whether you say something I agree with or not, I just don't want to hear it. Like I hear it all day. I want to fucking play video games, and I want to watch people that play video games without politics and other real world shit. Because I'm trying to get away from that. Because I'm around that shit all the time. There's no escaping it. So I want to break in it.
Well, which is Blizzard's official stance,
right?
Anyway,
it's kind of just shitty for me. Like you want to go like now, if you want to go on like any Blizzard Reddit, like Hearthstone, WoW, it's just half the fucking shit is Hong Kong, and it's like, I get it, but like, why is every fucking gaming subreddit turning into a fucking political forum? Like, I came here to get away from that shit.
Well, it's not even just that now. What there's all that NBA shit going on. I saw somebody was burning a LeBron James jersey.
Yep,
all that stuff. But have you been seeing what Mark Kern's been throwing out?
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's like essentially inciting people to just go ridiculous. BlizzCon's going to be a mess, isn't it? If anybody,
I don't know. There's going to be people there, but I got to be honest. Like, I think this is already kind of blown over. I mean, I'm already super tired of it. I wanted to talk about it one more time, just with these new developments. But if we never speak about this again, or I never read one more thing about it again, that'll be fine with me. Like, and I think that, the internet stuff, like, people forget about it again, because like, I don't really, they think they care for like a day or two, but like Dave said, like all they're doing is like either deleting an account or like pretending to delete an account for internet points. Like, how much do you really care about the subject matter if that's all you're doing? So I don't think people are going to be flying out to California to protest. I really don't.
As a side note, like, as far as like Blizzard stock price, which would be an indicator of like, if all this shit going on, all these people canceling was like if investors thought that would be an issue, the stock would probably tank, right? The stock went down a little.
Drop. I mean, it would.
Yeah, the stock went down a little bit, and then analysts upgraded anyway because everybody's downloading Call of Duty Mobile, and like the stock's up for money from when they announced the Blitz Chung thing. So like, I don't know how, if at all, it's only going to be like a short-term impact on their revenue. It's not.
Yeah, I guess my closing statements are that I'm ready to be done talking about it, and I still think that they made the right decision up front.
Right,
I think they did the right thing.
And I think we all agree with that, but at the same time, like, we are not saying we support China or we don't support Hong Kong. You know what I mean?
No,
that's not our view. Like, I am not a fan of China for many reasons, but there's a time and place for everything, and it's not on a professional video game scene. Like, no one wants politics in their fucking video games, and if you do, like, fuck off. You're an asshole. Like, stay in the real world.
Let's jump down to trending here with the first news story of the day. So Twitch officially announces ad revenue for affiliates. This is a really cool feature. I mean, in theory, it's something that could help everybody make money doing something that they love, streaming. No matter how large you are. I think what the affiliate level is, you need 50 followers. You need to have like 2 to 3 people watching you over a certain period of time constantly to get affiliate status. It's really not that hard to get. But everything that I've read about this and the feedback that I received firsthand from friends and streamers is that this really doesn't help much. And I think there's a lot of people trying to figure out exactly how much revenue that you can make as an affiliate right now. But every single thing that I've read and seen has said that you can make about $3.50 per 1,000 ad views, which if you're an affiliate, I mean, you got to think, unless you're on the really, really high end of that list, like almost at partner status, I can't see this really doing much for you. If you have 10 people in your stream and you stream every day for 8 hours and you play an ad every hour, that's only 80 views, and you need 1,000 to get $3.50. I mean, it's just not. It's not even worth running them.
Right?
Why would you even run them?
Unless you get thousands of viewers, what's the point? Right?
Yeah. So I don't know, like, if this was thought through at Twitch or Amazon or wherever. If they knew that this wouldn't really help anybody and they just felt like having a PR piece come out or something. I don't know.
It's probably excellent for the big players.
Yeah, for sure.
If you have 15,000 viewers, sure, like you're gonna make money. But if you're a growing streamer, how is putting ads in your stream and interrupting your stream, how is that gonna help you grow? It's just not. People aren't gonna want to watch. They're like, oh, well, fuck this guy, his ads. I'm not watching ads. Like, what incentive do I have to watch somebody's stream that I've never watched before if I'm just gonna get played ads?
I
I mean?
I completely agree, and like I don't want to sound shitty here, but if I'm going into somebody's stream and they have like 5 viewers, and I really don't know them, right? I'm just like searching around. I'm looking for new streamers. I'm trying to support small streamers. If I'm in there and I'm getting an ad, and I've never watched you before or something, and you're not popular, I'm pretty much gonna leave. I could just go anywhere else. I mean, there's like a million people streaming at any given time. I can be anywhere.
That, and then on top of, I mean, I agree with everything you guys said. It just doesn't make any sense for somebody small to be running ads anyways. People block them, so, you know, what's that even look like? I'm sure, you know, the numbers in those estimates you gave, Matt, are probably super generous. It's probably the majority of people don't come anywhere near that kind of level of viewership and that kind of percentage of ads hitting all their viewers, that kind of thing. And then on top of it, you'd have to have astronomically high views, and then at that point, you're not worried about making any money. You probably have partnership and sponsors and things like that. You know, aside from Twitch at that point.
I think from just like reading it, like, oh, if you run ads, you'll make money. It sounds like enticing and it sounds good, but if you know the underlying metrics of how you actually make money from it, it's not good. If that makes sense. It sounds good, like, just on the surface, but when you dig into the details of it, it just doesn't seem like it's actually worthwhile or good for the streamer.
It was kind of like a clickbait PR piece. Like I would have read it at Kotaku or Polygon or something. It was like, oh, Twitch affiliates now can make all this money with ad revenue. And you click on it, and you're like, oh, $350 for 1,000 ad views.
Yeah,
whoops.
right.
Whoops.
But
yeah, great.
So obviously that definitely looks like a PR move, and I'm sure it gets a bunch of, you know, younger kids or whatever really excited to go out there and stream on Twitch all their Fortnite plays and stuff. But does that really benefit Twitch? I mean, do they want a ton of streamers, or do they want a bunch of viewership? Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like they probably want a lot of viewership, right?
They'd want more viewership, yeah.
So
they would just want more. They would just want more viewers.
And just big.
Yeah, they would rather have you, to watch the big boys. Sure.
Like a good amount of streamers, but there's probably just entirely way too many streamers on most games. More than anybody would ever want to watch. So I don't really understand it from any angle here.
I mean, I think anything's good for Twitch. Like the more people that use the platform to stream, just like the bigger the brand recognition is. You know, and they can boast that to advertisers. Like we have 10 million people streaming at all times. Like I think anything's good, but yeah, I would think they'd want more viewers than streamers. Sure.
They should start paying people to watch the.
That would be really nice. I don't know if we're ever going to see that. But...
you get $350 for every 1,000 ads you watch.
That? Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I'd take that deal. I think that Twitch is just lucky that Mixer never really took off. I was reading a report that even like with the Ninja move over to Mixer. It like really hasn't done anything for Mixer's growth. It's like exactly the same. So Twitch is really the only player in town.
Yeah, it almost seems like Twitch is like what YouTube is to like video, you know, like to that segment of the market. Like it's just so hard to how do you break in? It's so established and everybody's so like, you know, like invested into that. Like I already have my YouTube account with all my subscriptions and all the people that I watch. I already have all the like, you know, it's like it's hard just to people like convenience, and it's hard to just get people to like drop what they're used to and just like switch to something new and like unproven.
Twitch is gonna really have to fuck up like Blizzard did, you know, before anybody can really take over.
Yeah. All it'll take is one streamer to say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Just mutter the words Hong Kong and Twitch will be done. Let's jump down to this next news story. So FIFA 20 tops the sales charts. And this is what the top 10 list looks like for the week of September 29th. We had FIFA 20 at number 1, The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening remake on the Switch at number 2, Borderlands 3 at number 3, Code Vein at number 4, Dragon Age 11S: Echoes of an Elusive Age number 5, number 6 Grand Theft Auto 5, number 7 Rainbow Six Siege, number 8 NBA 2K20, number 9 Spyro Reignited Trilogy, and number 10 Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Edition. So what do you guys think about this list? We talk a lot of shit on sports games on this podcast for good reason. I think we all really don't like them. I definitely stand by the stance there, but yeah, I don't know. What do you think about FIFA, being at the top and just that whole top 10 there?
FIFA's huge, man. I think it's easily the biggest game. It might be, I don't know. It's throwing out like bad info here, but it probably is like right up there with like Call of Duty, maybe even more, like on recurring, like one of those yearly games that come out every year, but just numbers of sales. People all over the world, that's got to be one of the best selling games of all time. Just really hard to compete with that,
yeah.
Whether it's good or bad. And generally it has been pretty good, I think, comparatively.
It's just kind of a shame because like we talk about, or at least, I mean, we talk about it, and just the community in general talks about like hating the loot boxes and hating the monetization for like that FIFA Ultimate Team. But it's the top selling game anyway. So, how do you really fight against that if it's always going to bring in this monster amount of revenue every single year, like without fail?
Yeah, I for me, like the sports games, like I do like you know what I mean. I like playing NHL and shit, but it's just like it's the same fucking thing every year.
Mm-hmm.
They make a couple modifications. It's nothing really different. It's the same fucking engine. For me, like the only really cool time was like when you went from like NHL 94 to like skill stick. Like whenever you used to like do slap shots by hitting like or shoot from hitting square, they changed it to use a stick. Like that was cool. That was sweet. But like now it's just like the same fucking thing. And like it's just like, oh, make your hot team. You got Sidney Crosby. You can only use him for fucking 10 games and then he's dead. And you no more contract. Like what the fuck's the point of that?
Yeah, I mean, who even thought of that?
It's
I mean,
so
I guess it was
stupid.
genius. I guess it was genius because it brings
because like I mean, when it first came out, like I tried it because it looked cool, and then it's just like this is fucking dumb.
Yeah,
I just put the best player in the league. He can. I have a contract card for him. He can play 10 games, and like I can never play him again unless I spend $80 million to get another one. Like I don't know. That just turned me off to sports games, and I just stopped playing them because I fucking hated it.
Mm-hmm.
Code Vein at number 4. I just bought that. It's been pretty good. It's like that Dark Souls anime.
Oh yeah.
Art style. It's definitely not as good as anything that From Software makes. Like it's no Bloodborne, but it's got cool elements to it.
Would you get it on PC?
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was out on Switch or something too.
I mean, it could be out on Switch, but yeah, I got it on PC. Mm-hmm.
It looked interesting. I'm kind of over, like you said, the Souls games have been great, but I'm sick of the clones.
Yeah, everybody wants to make it now that it's had success, but like the best ones have already been made, so I can just play Dark Souls if I want to play Dark Souls. I don't need to play something else.
Right. I mean, you can make it look all fancy and anime-like. I guess that'll definitely get a few people to jump and buy it. Yeah. I don't know.
I was hoping Josh was going to be on this show because he was trying to tell us that Mario Kart 8 was going to be the top seller in September, and it was at number 10. So
is that what he said?
Yeah, he said it was going to be at the top.
Well, he probably didn't know that FIFA.
I thought it was Mario Kart.
Or is it not 8? Was he talking about a different one?
No, it's the new mobile game.
The mobile one, yeah.
What's that called?
Dash, maybe.
Okay.
Mario Kart Tour. Mario Kart Tour.
Mario Kart Tour. I'll have to look out for that then and see when did it come out?
Just a few weeks ago, I believe. Like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Do you have to buy it?
We'll see it on the next show.
No, it's just an app. It's like an Android app.
It's free.
Yeah,
so
it's free to play. So I'm sure. I haven't played it yet, but it looked decent. But I'm sure there's microtransactions or some bullshit. Because
they just gonna make a great free game for you to play. It's the current year, man.
Yeah, what are you thinking, Dave?
Well, yeah, the game's free, but like if you want to like either be good at it or get the cool looking shit, you have to spend money.
Right.
All right, let's jump down to this last news story. This kind of made me laugh a little bit and also enraged me to the point of almost no return. A Gears of War 5 player has been banned for 640 days. The player is a frequent leaver of matches, with statistics showing that in a single day alone, the player had quit during 18 of his 21 matches. Obviously, this long ban is an attempt to try to cut down on players leaving in the games to, obviously bolster the other users' experience across the whole games or the whole platform. But I think this is a little bit too extreme. I mean, 640 days. I feel like the game's multiplayer life cycle won't even last that long. But what do you guys think about this? I mean, obviously we hate levers. We've talked about it before.
No, I fucking hate levers. Fuck them. If you're gonna leave 18 out of 21 games, fuck you. Like, you don't deserve to play the game. Why do you play the game if you're just gonna leave? What's the point?
Sure.
Yeah. It's that whole mentality. It was like when we were playing League the other day. It's like, it's those people that you get like 14 minutes into a match. I don't know how long a Gears of War 5, online match takes, but we'll say like you're only 20, 30% into the game, and they're already bitching and moaning and whining that you lost. There's no way to come back. There's nothing you can do, so they quit. They just give up, or they start doing dumb stuff. I'm totally sick of it. I think you said the 640 days, like that's probably the lifespan of the game. Well, maybe, but
at least the popular life cycle of the game.
They should ban his fucking IP and ban him from all future games. Yes. Fuck off.
They should send him to China.
Yeah, well, fucking make him fucking break rocks for the rest of his life. Fuck off.
They're the worst.
I mean, you don't think 640 is a little much? I don't know.
No.
See, I do.
Why would you keep joining games just to quit? That makes no fucking sense. Like, why?
It's just,
I don't know. It's hard.
It ruins the flow of the game and like the competitiveness of the game. And you just like fucking lose, especially if it's a game that like when you're down a player, like you're just at a significant disadvantage because they just outnumber you. Like, I don't know. If it's like a solo player game, like if you're by yourself and it's like if we're playing TFT and it's every man for himself and you quit, good riddance, motherfucker. Like, see you later. You don't affect anybody else.
Well, Gears has like that horde mode where like you have to work as a team, and that horde mode can go on for hours and hours and hours. Because we've played it up to like wave 45 before.
Mm-hmm.
It takes like 3 hours. So yeah, that would be a little bit frustrating to sit through.
Yeah, I think that I don't know what it is, but maybe it's just like online games in general. Like, when we were growing up, we really didn't have like online video games, but just like no matter what you were doing, I feel like it was kind of like instilled in you. Just didn't quit. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like no matter what you were playing, like you get your ass kicked or whatever once or twice, like it happens. Like you don't just give up.
Yeah. Or like for me, like a lot of the best like video game experience I've had are like when you're getting fucking shit on, like you're getting destroyed, but like you find a way to like come back and like win a game that like should never happen, and like it feels so fucking good to come back and like fight through it and win the game. Like when people just rage quit, it just like that, having that experience, like you're never gonna have it.
I think it's the accessibility factor, Adam. Like I think when we were younger, you're playing something or you're doing something, and that's kind of like that was like your focus. Like you couldn't like just shift over and play 1,000 other multiplayer games at the drop of a hat, like from the same seat. I mean, like with Xbox Live and stuff, you kind of got that, but it didn't feel the same as it does now. It's literally like, I can be playing League, quit, hop on HOTS, quit, hop on Hearthstone, quit, go play Team Fortress, quit. Like I can just go boom, 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 boom in the matter of 15 minutes and ruin everybody's time. Not that I would, but you can. I think that's what it is. It's like, why would I sit here and waste my time when I can just get out of this fucking game and go play something else and just fuck over my teammates?
Right. Yeah, I guess that's that mentality, that thinking like, why would I waste my time?
It's selfish.
Selfish, and like it feels like for me, like that's like part of the reason why I hate like some team games and multiplayer games. It's like you play League and like the other team gets first blood and the guy's just like GG and just fucking stops trying and just like runs it down. Like it's one fucking kill. Like what the fuck's wrong with you? Like I don't understand how you end up with that mindset.
Well, and like we've gotten
into
this before, but like we're playing in silver. I mean, everybody's really bad. So like you could obviously come back because nobody's like they're not gonna win the game in 15 minutes. They
Yeah,
stink just as bad as you do.
right.
Like I don't know.
They're
To
not
quit is
professional. Yeah, they're not league worlds level players. You know, they're jabronis.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's the message, right? You know, like stop quitting. You can at least try. I mean, you're invested to at least a certain point. You waited, I don't know how many minutes to get into a match, a game, finding a lobby or whatever it is. Gears of War 5, League of Legends. I don't fucking care. You're there for you're there for the long haul, or just, you know, maybe everybody starts getting banned like this. Then you can have like a half decent fucking community, play an online video game and not want to kill yourself after 25 minutes.
I think for some reason, like with the culture around esports and just like the internet having guides now to like show you what you can do to be the best player in the game, people expect that they should be the best in the game. And when they're not, they rage quit out and like they don't like want to be a part of it anymore. With like no practice. I don't know why that is, because like in normal sports, like you can watch a football player and you can watch what he does and try to replicate that. And obviously you can't do it. I don't know why people think that they can like read a champion guide for League and watch a professional player play him, then think they're going to hop into the game and like just be Hooney or like just be Faker. Like it doesn't work like that. You have to play like every day for like 4 years, study the meta, learn a bunch of champions, and you have to have like the mental capacity and the physical capacity just to do it.
Just enjoy your video games. Stop trying to be fucking Faker.
Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of crazy, but let's wrap the show there. Good show. 3-person show went pretty well. I think that was the first one that we've done. No Josh tonight. He got called into overtime for work like all week, so he's working nights. Thanks so much for listening. We really, really, really appreciate it. If you think of it, leave us an iTunes review. Just let us know what you think of the show. It really, really helps us out. If you listen to this on Spotify or iTunes, we put up the live VODs on YouTube and other gaming stuff as well. So check that out if you think of it. But other than that, thanks so much, and we'll see you next week.